And I guess we'll start this Penn Point now. This episode of Penn Point is brought to you by Squarespace. As you might know, clean water is one of the scarcest resources in the world. We need it to survive, and yet nearly 1 billion people don't have access to it. We want to get involved, so we're partnering with Charity Water to make a difference. Charity Water is an organization that donates 100%. That's all, 100% of the money it raises to building wells and bringing clean water to communities in need. They're leveraging technology in really creative ways to mobilize people around the cause, and we want to get you, our viewers, involved. Each show on Revision 3 is reaching out to our viewers to raise money to build wells. It takes $5,000 to build a well that can provide clean water to an entire village. $5,000. That's not, that's what a VCR cost in 1978. $5,000 to build a well to provide clean water to an entire village. So we need your help to make a difference. Go to revision3.com/charitywater to learn more and get involved. So I was in New York City to do all this press shit, and Stephen Banks is head writer on SpongeBob SquarePants, and have been a friend of mine for most of my life. And I can really say that it really is most of my life. Been a friend of mine most of my life, and I've written a play with him. And Stephen Banks is just a fabulous writer and a fabulous performer. So Stephen Banks tells me that I should go see Merchant of Venice with Al Pacino in New York, live play. Shakespeare, don't you know? And he tells me that Al Pacino is just fucking amazing, and it'll kill me. So I know one of the producers of Debbie, a friend of mine, one of the producers of Merchant of Venice. So I can send her an email like 4 days before I want to go to see Merchant of Venice and say, could I get one single ticket? I don't need to bring anybody with me. I want to go to the theater alone. I just want to sit there, let the Shakespeare wash over me, let Al Pacino just kick some fucking ass. I just want to do this, right? And I asked for one ticket, and she says she doesn't know. This is the producer, doesn't know if she can get it, because that's how hot a ticket is. So 2 nights before I want to go see Al Pacino in Merchant of Venice, the only night that I have free to go, I'm in a restaurant in New York on 44th Street, Un, deux, trois, which means 1, 2, 3 in French, I believe. It's 123 West 44th. We're sitting in there. I'm sitting with Teller, as a matter of fact, which is very, very unusual for me to be out with Teller. We're out there hanging. And Al Pacino, a guy who looks a lot like Al Pacino, is sitting at a table, another table. We're like the only 2 tables that are still occupied late at night here at this restaurant. And I said, Teller says to me, I think that's Al Pacino. I look over and I can't see anything. So I go, yeah, it does kind of look like Al Pacino if he were, looking like, Shylock. And so we're not going to go talk to Al Pacino, because I don't know Al Pacino. We've never met him. And what the fuck does Al Pacino care about Penn and Teller? He doesn't give a fuck. But the maitre d' says, are you going to go over and talk to Al Pacino? We go, no, we're not going to talk to Al Pacino. We don't know him. And he goes, well, he might be insulted if you don't go over. Might be insulted if we don't bother him while he's eating? And he's with 2 beautiful women, and why would he want to talk to Penn and Teller? What the fuck? But the maitre d' kind of pulls on our dick enough that we go over and we say to him, hi, Mr. Pacino, and my name is Penn Jillette, this is my partner Teller, we're Penn and Teller. And Al Pacino is so kind to us and so nice. And, he's just so polite. He's just great, and so sweet. And we're like talking to Al Pacino, which is pretty cool for like a minute, right? And then he says, are you going to see Merchant of Venice? Maybe he didn't say that, but maybe I said I was trying to see, because he wouldn't say, are you going to see Merchant of Venice? He's not going to be pimping his show at the fucking restaurant to Penn Jillette in the middle of the night, right? So he didn't ask me, I asked him. Or I told him I was going to try, and I was having trouble getting a ticket, which I just mentioned because I might not be there. And Al Pacino says, well, tell them that Al wants you to have a ticket. Al wants me to have a ticket to Merchant of Venice that's sold out and you can't get into. And I go, I'm not going to say Al wants. He goes, no. say Al wants me to have a ticket. I said, I'm supposed to say to the producer that I bumped into Al and he said he wants Penn Jillette to have a ticket. And Al says yes. And I go, well, couldn't everybody do that? Couldn't like every single person go, Al Pacino wants me to have a ticket? I mean, wouldn't that break down the whole system? And he says, I don't know that many people, which is a pretty funny thing to say. So I get back to my room and I, fire up the iPad and so I wrote to her and I write her the conversation, just the way I kind of told it to you, right? And all of a sudden, like, hell breaks loose. And all of a sudden, like, all these people are CC'd on it, and all these people are trying to get, me a ticket to see Al Pacino in Merchant of Venice. And it happens. It just happens, that works. Al wants me to see the show. So I go to the show alone and, I don't know Shakespeare. Teller knows Shakespeare inside out. He's directed Shakespeare. He knows all the Shakespeare. He can quote Shakespeare. He knows everything. Stephen Fry knows everything about Shakespeare. All smart people know about Shakespeare. I know jack shit about Shakespeare. I've read a couple of these books like, Shakespeare Without Fear, where they're the modern translation, the other side. And I always kind of stumble through it. When I read Stephen Fry talking about Shakespeare, like I understand it, but really, I've only seen like 5 Shakespeare plays live, and they don't really. I know they're fabulous, and when the words wash over me, they're great, but I don't get like wrapped up in the plot. But man, first of all, it has this guy from Law and Order, this Jesse L. Martin, who's playing like this good time party boy, and he's just fabulous. And these guys are speaking Shakespeare in a way that makes it seem like they've just thought of it. And Pacino is doing Shakespeare, and Pacino sometimes seems over the top in movies. Of course he does. That's part of what he does. And who am I to talk? But on stage, it's just fucking amazing. And he's playing Shylock, and he's doing these speeches that you've heard, of prick do we not bleed, and all that stuff. And he is just killer. And he's got lines like no, no, no. Just like the word no. And every single no he says is different. And he's brilliant. I'm sitting there alone, which makes it, better, because you don't have to react to the person next to you, and you don't have to think about what you're going to say during intermission and stuff. You just kind of let it wash over you and groove. And then Stephen Baxter told me that Lily Rabe, who is Joe Klaber's daughter, was fabulous in it and unbelievable, and as good as Pacino, and would kill me and stuff. And so I'm really excited about that. And then my friends say that because her mother died, she's out of the show. So I think I'm seeing an understudy. I don't think I'm actually seeing the superstar Lily Rabe playing the Portia part. I don't think I'm seeing that, right? But this understudy is incredible. So I write to the producers afterwards and go, wow, I don't know how good the real woman must be, because this understudy really, really kicked ass. I mean, she was so good, so good. And then I get an email back that it actually was the woman who was so good because she had taken fewer days off after her mother's death than people had guessed. And, I worked the night my mom died, and the night my dad died, and the night my sister died. I did shows because that's what I do. So I understand her coming back sooner. And I got to tell you, Pacino, I don't want to say Pacino or any of the other cast, they were all fabulous. But and they all did this, but Lily, I'm calling her Lily like I know her, Ms. Rabe did, she's saying shit in Elizabethan English, with the these and thous and that shit. And she's saying it like she's sitting across the table at Denny's from you. It's like she's the most perfect speaker there's ever been. And she actually seems to be generating it and believing it, which I know is what acting is supposed to be. I'm going to talk more about this, but first I want to tell you a little bit about the sponsor. Squarespace offers users a flexible solution for anyone looking to create a blog, personal portfolio, or any kind of website. No matter what level of coding experience you have, Squarespace can provide the tools needed to create a high-end, complex website that is uniquely your own. Don't worry if you come across any questions or issues. Squarespace also offers every user 24/7 support. Squarespace's iPhone app was recently updated with all kinds of great new features like full HTML blog editing on the go and comment moderation. Get push notifications to approve new comments, mark existing comments as spam, reply to comments, and more, all from your iPhone. Many of the internet's highest trafficked web pages are powered by Squarespace, not to mention many of the personal pages of Revision 3 hosts and personalities. Go to www.squarespace.com to learn more. Be sure to enter code PENN when checking out to earn 10% off the lifetime of your order. That's what acting's supposed to be, but I'm a shitty actor. So when I'm saying stuff, you know what it's like. I'm So, I mean, I'm not even an actor. I'm a performer. Whatever I am. I'm a juggler. But she says this stuff, and she is saying stuff like the quality of mercy is not strained, but she's saying it like she's never heard it before. She's not saying it like it's famous lines, like here it comes, but she's saying it like it just popped into her head, and you hear it for the first time. It goes right to your heart like you've never heard these Shakespearean lines before. So the show killed me, and Al Pacino killed me, and Jesse L. Martin killed me, and all the other cast killed me. But I gotta tell you, Lily Rabe, 5 days after her mom died, on stage, just doing Shakespeare. I mean, it must have been what it felt like when Shakespeare just wrote it. It was so natural and yet so profound and so beautiful. And when you see something that fucking good, that insane, it's so moving, and it just grabs you. And it's so cool that Shakespeare, I guess most historians say, wrote this with real anti-Semitism in his heart. And yet the character he wrote, the villain that he wrote of Shylock, was written with such depth and such understanding that even as the culture changes and evolves and becomes better and anti-Semitism is not the norm, the character still sings and still plays and still speaks to the heart. And it was just great. And it's now sold out completely, and you can't possibly get in unless you call the box office and say, Al Pacino wants me to have a ticket. Give it a try. That's my Penn Point.